This is like 10,000 on this video, but that's how I do it. I usually get better as I make more videos. Like I become clearer and easier to understand, and I am on track more. Silly Potty Mouth told me I was full of shit, and I was like, I wish, because then I would just go to prison and then I could have a normal life. But I'm going to explain to you my whole story thing from the beginning on, because I don't like when people tell me that I'm full of crap, because it irks me, and I know I shouldn't address you, and I should just be like, whatever, man. But, this all started in the military. I was in Cuba, and I heard these voices tell me that they were going to blur my senses. Now, this was the psychotronic stuff. There's a big difference between being schizophrenic and having psychotronic stuff at you. They told me they were going to blur my senses, and that's when I started having all these problems. Like, obviously, they damaged my brain in some way that made me psychotic again. Um, yeah, so if you don't know anything, we will blur your senses. That's a line out of the Quran. And I hadn't even read the Quran because I wasn't real educated when I was in the Army. And that's when it started anyway. I started hearing music that wasn't there and a whole bunch of other stuff. And I thought I was immortal. An immortal carrion flower, which is a rotting flower that smells like flesh and it traps flies and stuff in it. And it kind of went on from there. I got out of the military and I was like, oh, thank God I'm out, because like when I was having so many problems, people were making fun of me because I wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't cleaning up my barracks room, and I didn't have good hygiene. And this is how when I became psychotic again. And see, I had problems with this when I was little, and that's what makes this even more complicated and makes people not believe me about the uh, the psychotronic stuff. But it's just when I was little, I had an IEP. I was in special ed. I was special needs, and I had a hard time organizing my thoughts and getting them out on paper, and just a whole bunch of other stuff. I was very quiet though, so it was harder to understand. I saw a man in the garden who wasn't there, and I actually visually saw something that wasn't there when I was little, and angels and stuff. And then it came back when I was in the military after they damaged my brain, and nobody will believe me on this, and it's really frustrating. Um, because I've tried to explain it so many times, and people are like, well, that's just not possible. You're just being schizophrenic again. I'm like, they damaged my brain. Something happened that was bad. Anyway, so I was in a military hospital for 6 months. I was an outpatient for 5 months, and I was an inpatient for 30 days. And they discovered that I had schizophrenia again, and it was because of those things that came out of the water and told me they were going to blur my senses. So I stayed in Virginia for a year, and I had these people like come and attack me and stuff because they thought I was a fake schizophrenic and that I just didn't want to work. And I had been looking for a job, which they didn't know. I mean, this whole time it's pretty funny. I mean, I've been looking for a job almost the whole time. Well, there were a couple years where I didn't because I was stuck in a group home where I was in and out of the hospital so much. But I've tried to be productive so much, and I've tried to be good. But all these people that are always like, you're full of shit, or get involved in my life, they really bug me because they end up screwing everything up. If I were faking, they would know, because I have people who come into my house every day, and they watch me. I have a caseworker that comes twice a week, or she used to. Now she's only coming once because her partner quit, but they're getting a new one, and then he'll be every day. And then I have somebody who comes every other day to help me clean my apartment, because I naturally will forget things and won't do it. But I can do more than I have been doing. I have been lazy in that respect, and that's going to change because my grandma's picked up on it too, and she's like, well, you've got to start doing stuff for yourself. Um, but anyway, when you're having positive symptoms, it's a lot easier for people to believe you than when you're having negative symptoms. When you're having positive symptoms, like I do things like I throw rocks at cars, and like I threw rocks at a bridge that was next to the cars, and then I threw glass bottles at cars and stuff like that because my brain wasn't working right. But I've also, like I said, been attacked several times by people who thought I was faking, and people who just are nosy and got involved in my life when they shouldn't have. I've had that happen. And then I tried to kill myself too, which is somewhere along the lines there. I don't know how to describe it. It's just I slam my head into the ground over and over again. But I've been attacked by psychotronic warfare more than once. I mean, I had God in my head telling me to turn around and show me the face he created. And that's lying out of the Bible. You know, if you see my face, you shall not live. And it's really weird. It's hard to describe to other people, and other people are always like trying to discredit you and stuff. And it's like, I'm not going to defend my psychiatric illness. I don't feel like I have to. I think that it is what it is, and if you don't believe me, you don't have to. But I've had a lot of people attack me throughout the years just because they believe that somebody should be a certain way or that they should act a certain way, and I can't live up to their expectations of mental illness. Now, when I lived in the group home, I saw people that were horrible. I mean, really bad off. I'm sorry, I'm not speaking very clearly right now. And I was like, well, I don't have what they have, but then I didn't realize that, and I watched the video later, and I contradicted myself over and over again. So that's when I was having a lot of problems still too. My screen just went blank; it does that, and I realized that I don't remember things, and that I can't always keep a thought process correct, or I'm corrupted. And yeah, so I made this video a while ago, and I was like, well, I'm not like these people, and I'm better off, and I should get out of here. And I eventually did. But I didn't realize that I had problems myself until I watched the video and I saw myself contradict. And then there were people in the YouTube section, of course, the same idiots who tell me that I'm fake and that I'm not real and that I should just, basically keel over and die because I'm not working the same sort of 9 to 5 that they are, argue with me when I didn't make any sense. So yeah, I'm used to that. I'm used to people not understanding. I've had these problems for a while, and I've managed to hide them, usually by not talking and not saying anything. But yeah. So that's just, I wouldn't describe the silly potty mouth. It's been a roller coaster. But I mean, I've had a lot of rich people and stuff like who have these weapons attack me because they were like, oh, she's just big. But it's like the whole reason why I'm psychotic in the first place is because of Cuba, because of the we will blur your senses people. Because when I was little, that had gone away. It didn't bother me like it did when I was when it came back. It's hard to describe, and that's probably why they chose me in the first place. They knew that it would be hard for me to explain what had gone on. I got into a fight with Putin too, which I have proof of. If you Google Return of the Rambo 3 and Buffy, then you'll see that I named his dog that before he named it. It'll say the dog. I'll say the dog's name is Buffy, and that was like a day before he chose the name. And then he'll pick the name, and then I'll say, haha, I named your dog, and stuff like that. But afterwards, you just have to dig through a little bit, and you'll find that most of my story is right. And they were the ones that told me that I was, at the VA, they told me I was delusional about my head injury. And then years later, they found out that I had a head injury. So I'm used to people not taking me seriously, or people always thinking that I'm faking my illness, or that I'm doing something else bad. I would like to not have that happen, but it's impossible. Because people they think what they want to think, and I can't really change that. I mean, that's who they are. That's what they want to believe. So whatever, just don't attack me again. I have been attacked enough. I've had cyanide put in with me. I've had street gangs follow me and attack me, and I've had a whole bunch of things just because they thought that I should be something. And I'll admit that I'm not as bad off as some people with. I'm not like happy moons, sparkles, like some of the schizophrenics are. That's why I want to work again, and why I've worked at this. But I had to be stable for long enough for them to take me seriously about working. And I have to prove myself by volunteering and showing up and doing all that before they'll let me. And before, when I was about to volunteer, I ended up having to go to my dad's house for a while to visit him, and then I became unstable again. But I don't think that's going to happen because I've been pretty stable. I went to the hospital a couple weeks ago, but that was more for a medication error. I think I said that before. I'm not sure if I said that in this make of the video or not. This is like the longest video I've ever made, just because I wanted to rant on it because I'm sick of people attacking me. And then they'll say that I'm paranoid after I've been attacked, and that's, well, duh. Duh. Okay, I think I got it out.